All right, and we are live. Got my man Austin here joining me. Uh, I'll be honest, guys, I am all over the place right now from what we just watched. But the Pistons defeat the Miami Heat 125 to 124 in the craziest game of the season. Uh, Austin, I'm just gonna turn it to you, man. I am I am rattled. The way I was behaving in this room right now for the last 5 minutes of that game is something I am quite embarrassed of, but thankfully no one was in here with me, but take it away, man.
Yeah, it's funny because I sent you a message. They were up, and my main message coming on here was going to be like, "Oh, I love games when Cade doesn't have to be the main scorer, and they can, come out and just play a nice, easy game for once, like have a lead and be able to hold it." And then I think you sent something back to me. You said, "We'll win this for sure, right?" I think they were up
Yeah, I
12 at
did.
that point. And I was like, "Yeah, Asar's in. He'll be able to shut down whatever stupid thing Tyler Hero decides to do." But yeah, that last 4 minutes. I mean, I can't remember exactly what the time was, but I feel like they went about 8 minutes without a field goal. Um, you know, Cade with a great game, kind of had some issues there at the end, not being able to score the ball. I mean, he was getting doubled like crazy, so it's hard to toe that line to be like, you want to go him to go be that guy, but without like Jaden Ivey out there, like it's hard to kind of to say like, do that when you're getting double teamed. But man, that last 4 minutes, like you said, it was just not it was not fun to watch. I was sitting there deflated, man. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening again. Like in the same
Uh,
exact way, it's Tyler Hero going crazy. Like, oh
can I ask you, did you think I think Miami got up by 7 or 8 after a Duncan Robinson floater or something?
yeah, it was
I
8.
thought once they were down by 4, I was like, "Nah, they're
Yeah.
done." That like you said, they didn't get a field goal for 8 minutes of game time. Felt
Yeah.
like about half an hour of real time. Um,
Well,
but
I
did
think
you think they were done?
he missed a three in that overtime from the corner wide open, and he missed it. And then I think that was when they went down, and Duncan Robinson got that open layup. And yeah, after that, it was like, all right, well, I was in my mind thinking like, this is like, I think you tweeted out worst loss of the season, but I was like, this might be the worst loss I've like witnessed in this like tenure of Pistons basketball. Like, I can't remember them having like just such a collapse like that. And you know, Tim Hardaway Jr., as much as I've thought, he wasn't really doing very well recently, he came out today. I mean, he gave you 9 straight points, and then he gave you a really
Crazy.
horrible turnover. I'm not really sure what that was. It looked, I mean, him and Malik Beasley clearly not on the same page. Because Malik Beasley was open, he was flashing, he was wide open. It's like, oh, he's just
That
going to pass
was
it. And he threw it in, and then the ball's going to the backcourt. I was like, oh, Cade must be back there. And then no, it was just to nobody. He threw the ball to nobody, and you're sitting there. I think there was 9 seconds on the clock, and it's like, they get another chance at it. It's a Tyler Hero switch onto Jalen Duren, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? And I mean, luckily he tried to hoist 35-footer and missed it, but man, it was the vibes were so high before that fourth quarter, man. I was like, yeah, all right, this is good. And
I want to quickly shout out Jalen Duran because I think there was about 5 seconds left when Tyler Hero got that ball. Like you just outlined then, and I thought he played the best possible defense he could. Yes,
yeah,
Hero kind of settled for that long three, but for Tyler Hero and the way he was shooting the ball, I felt like that was a good shot for him in a way. And I thought JD did a great job staying in front of him, getting a hand up, not like giving away 3 free throws or anything or over compensating. So I want to shout him out. But
yeah,
I do want to go back to Tim Hardaway Jr. because down by 8 points, then all of a sudden he just hits 3 threes in a row.
it's not
And like like they were dead in the water. Like, because what had happened was they were up by 19, couldn't hit a field goal. They burned all their timeouts, which I'm going to get to it a bit later. But to be honest, this was probably one of JB's worst coaching games, at least I've noticed, just down the stretch there, with some of his decision making with timeouts rotations. So they were just in a rut. Didn't have Jaden Ivey like you meant. It just felt like Cade was being asked to do anything, and then he do everything, and he had a turnover late. Just couldn't get it going. But Tim Hardaway Jr. just shout out to him because
Yeah.
he's the match winner. Like plenty
Mhm.
of good contributors, but they did not win that game without him, even with that bizarre turnover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it was good to see. I don't know if you watched the post game press conference, or not press conference, interview on the court, where he, basically said, everybody was, in that timeout kind of in his ear, like, hey, we got you, like, you're good. Like, that's the kind of stuff I think, even after this loss and how bad, or win and how bad, like, the collapse was, like, I still like to see that kind of stuff, like the team sticking together. Like, I feel like last year this type of thing would have happened. Even if they would have won, you wouldn't have seen players sticking around like Malik Beasley waiting for Tim Hardaway to get off the court. Like, that's just, I don't know. And again, you try to find the good with the bad, and I think that's one of them. The team just trying to stick behind their guy, that again got them there. So yeah, I'd like to touch on, you kind of mentioned JB's coaching. You're up 3 with however much time was left at the end of the fourth. Why are you not fouling? Give them 2 free throws. I mean, maybe because they didn't have any timeouts left. They were worried about not inbounding. I'm not really sure, but I think that's something you have to consider in that moment. Like, why even give them the chance to tie the game?
Yeah, that I agree with that. That was the big one there where I was just because of the way the game was trending as well. Like it was all Miami. They were like on a tidal wave of momentum. All their shooters were hitting shots. Like the Pistons had no answers, and it just felt like the one thing they could control then, like you said, was to foul whoever
Mm-hmm.
got the ball. Let them take the 2 free throws, and then you hope that K can get the ball back and then make his free throws, and you play the free throw game. I think that was a big mistake. Obviously, it doesn't cost them, but um, yeah, and I thought he just like the fact the Pistons, I don't think they had any timeouts left with a minute to go. And YouTube user brings this up here because he is correct. I'm not one to blame the rest, but they really screwed up a ton of calls both ways tonight. But JB had to burn a timeout because the refs missed a dude literally hanging on the Cade's
Yeah,
arm late. And I tweeted out a photo of that. Can't believe there wasn't a foul
so
there.
bad.
So that's not really, but still just, I just think JB this season sometimes has struggled to manage his timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Miami were going on that run towards the end of the fourth, the Pistons had no out. Like
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
missing shots and they didn't have
They weren't
timeouts
even
to
getting
burn.
good
And
good looks at shots. Like, Cade
yeah,
was double. The best shot I can think of was Asar and 3 in the corner. And I mean, his shot's gotten better, but that's still you're gonna give that shot up if you're the Miami Heat. Like,
yeah,
so I mean, that one thing I would just like to just kind of, again, not trying to fully blame the refs, but the one that
yeah.
he lost the challenge on, I don't think I've ever heard a shooting foul with knee to shin contact before that was barely anything. That was the ref's excuse for that, was knee to shin contact.
I
I don't
missed
know.
that. So
Yeah,
can you just, I don't know what I was doing. I must have been losing my mind doing something else.
were you watching it on League Pass or?
I was on League Pass, but I,
Yeah,
I I think I don't know what I was doing. I missed that
the
though.
ref came back and said knee to shin contact, and I was like, I've never heard that once before. Like, if that's a shooting foul, then Cade getting hacked his entire way to the rim. I mean, he's bumping into people the whole time. Like, it just
Yeah.
it's funny because, like, you'll even see some of the rookies. Like today, I think Ron got a foul in the paint that Cade is not getting the same calls on, and I don't know if it's. I really don't know if they just don't like him or if they just think he's too big and too strong, and I don't know, but he does not get a fair whistle at all. So, not trying
That's
to
crazy.
blame the ref for everything, but he definitely, Cade's got some gripes with him for sure. So,
Definitely. No, I think it's definitely worth bringing up because there was plenty of missed calls. And yeah, some of the ones on Cade, like you said, I don't know what it is. Is it at this point I'm just like I don't even know if I can get too angry. I just laugh now because I'm like I don't know what to do. But I want to talk about, you just brought up Ron Holland's name there and Asar. I thought those two tonight, you got a glimpse. Well, I thought Asar first of all was excellent, and I'll get to him in a moment. But you got a glimpse into like what it's like to have 2 athletic wings that can just run around, muck things
mhm.
up, get out in transition, rebound, get deflection. Like you can see why Trajan took Ron Holland because of the type of player he is. Like, thoughts
Not
on
a,
those two
sure.
game tonight? Like Asar had 19 points, I think 8 boards, 4 steals, a block. Like, awesome game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it was really good, especially once I saw he was in the starting lineup. Like, that was really good to see because I was like, okay, we're gonna get to see him play some more minutes than 12 at 2 minute spurts or 3 minute spurts, whatever it was. Like, and I think he was dealing with some cramping. I mean, which is fair if he hasn't been still, he's still trying to catch up on his conditioning. But yeah, I mean, I felt a lot more confident when he was on the floor. And Ron's progression just kind of throughout the season has just been really good to see. Like from game one to where he is right now, like you can see the progression, and it's good. And I mean, if he can keep that up in the minutes that he's getting, like, yeah, I think there was at one point we came on here, it might have been after a loss, I don't really remember. We were kind of talking about like, what do you do with him when a star comes back? Do you move him down? Where does, but I mean, he played pretty well today. He has been playing pretty well. So it's good to see. It's
Yeah,
fun.
for sure. That they are both so fun, like just genuinely so fun to watch. Like a star's probably on another level athletically, but that's definitely not a knock on Ron. I think
Yeah. A
they're
star is
different
just
type of
crazy.
athletes.
I mean,
Yeah, the
him and his
Thompson twins
brother,
are
when you
yeah.
watch them, like there's no one as athletic as them. Like when Asar tried to dunk on that dude today, he just kept going. Did you miss that? I think I saw you tweet that you
Yeah,
missed the beginning of the game.
I
Did you see
kind of
it?
missed the first quarter. I went back and saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Oh my
a
goodness.
two-handed poster like that. Like I know it
Oh,
missed, but that's insane.
dude just kept he floats. It's effortless for him. He floats through the air, and it's really fun to watch. But again, I guess I kind of want to like I don't want to take away from what they did in the first 3 quarters, but that fourth quarter, like you kind of I don't really know what seemed to be the issue. I mean, I know Miami's a pretty good team, but like that something changed, and I don't really know what it was. Like it had to just be Cade getting doubled and not being able to make the plays that he had been making all game. But at some point, like that's where again the need for another guard who can handle the
Yeah.
ball comes in. Because, I mean, if he gives it up and he's giving it up to Malik Beasley, who doesn't have the tightest handle, he's really there to shoot. Asar, who can't shoot, I mean, his handle isn't terrible, but when Asar gets the ball, the shot clock is under 10 seconds, so there's not really a lot for him to do. And so again, I think this is just another one of those games where you're just like, you got to find somebody else that can make their own shots. So
I think, yeah, like you said, Miami just, I think it was really the last 6 minutes of that fourth quarter where Miami just went, all right, we're down by 19. We're just going to get the ball out of Cade's hands or force him into like 3 or 4 guys. And like you said, like Cade's options are he has a Sar. Beasley was like a main reason they were up by 19 because he couldn't miss, but then he went a bit cold. And then, like you said, that lack of secondary playmaking, scoring, whatever you want to call it, just comes right to the surface. And obviously, no Jaden Ivey tonight, who's been struggling, but he helps with that a little bit.
yeah.
No Tobias Harris tonight, who I'm not sure changes really the outcome of Heat, but he certainly helps a little bit. And, like, I think Miami's just went, all right, we're just going to trap Cade, get the ball out of his hands, make his life miserable. And it paid off. Like, because guys were missing shots. And then you see, once the Pistons go a bit cold, it's like the confidence starts to really dwindle. Then their timeouts, like they were just in a weird spot. And that's why, like, the body language, yeah. And it's like,
well, here we go again.
Literally. And like, don't get me wrong, they lose this game. Might be the most disappointed I'm being this season, but the fact they won it, and anyone who wants to focus, there's certainly things they can improve upon, but I'm not going to leave this game being like angry and disappointed because they won. And Miami are much better than that Miami team I feel like they played 3 weeks ago in that cup game. I really believe that.
Even like Miami came in, they won 4 straight. The 4 teams that they beat the Lakers, the Suns, Cleveland, and Toronto. Like Toronto and LA, like not the greatest, but I mean you beat the Suns and Cleveland. Like those are 2 pretty good wins, and I mean they're coming in on that high, and you're able to get that win. Like that feels pretty good. Like you said, like I don't want to just be all down because of the fourth quarter collapse. Like it was good to see them come out with some aggression, especially after how they looked in Boston again. Like They just kind of came out. They looked like they were ready to play, even kind of like down. Like, I mean, like you said, Ji and Tobias
Tobias.
Harris being out. Like,
And
also, I'm really liking Marcus Sasser's minutes. I don't
yeah,
know how you can find him minutes, but he really is looking like somebody that I don't know if you need to play him with Ivy and let him be the one with the ball most of the time, or he comes in when Ivy goes out. But I have really been liking his minutes recently.
no, it's a great call. I think I tweeted it last game against Boston when like they're getting absolutely killed. But it's just whenever he's on the court, like I feel like generally speaking, he makes good plays. He had a turnover tonight, but two threes, like, and there's just a certain you feel comfortable when he has the ball. Just as someone who's not going to turn it over, even if he
Yeah,
did have one, like, yeah, I feel like you feel like he's always going to knock down that open three.
yeah. His step back to the left three seems automatic. Like if he gets
Yeah.
somebody in that and he's crossing back to the left, stepping back, it's buckets like all the time. I mean, he hit a big three today. Like Malik Beasley almost got stripped, hit it to Stasser, nailed it. Like I don't know. I feel like there has to be minutes for him because it seems like he is always productive. Like you said, like he's doing something good, and I mean he's pretty good defensively too. Like not great. I mean he's undersized, but he can defend the guards pretty well. So I mean, yeah, that's my Marcus Sasser thing. Is I just kind of wanted to shout
He's
him out quick too.
No, because I'm with you. I've been like more minutes, but it's like, where do you find the minutes? And then it's just like maybe like just for this season and where they are right now, he kind of is just the perfect 11th man that when
Yeah,
things aren't going the right way or you need a boost offensively, just bring him in because he's always ready. He's like 24, 25. Like he's got a
yeah,
maturity about him. Like maybe that's just his role on this team for, until the trade deadline and maybe there's some moves
yeah.
or
I mean,
whatever.
I think giving him like a couple minutes here and there, maybe he is just something that another team would like in any type of trade that happens. I mean, like he's a good filler. I mean, he's a good player. I think he just got drafted into a bad situation. Like that whole, I mean, obviously Troy Weaver is a whole other topic to get into about why he even traded into the first round to get him. But you got to make the best with what you got, and
Yep.
he's solid backup to have with Jaden Ivey being out. So
I agree. It's definitely a good shout from you. We kind of haven't really actually spoken about Cade too much. So tonight, 20 points, I think 10 boards, career high 18 assists. You take away the last 5 minutes of regulation, 4 minutes, and I think we're sitting here saying he's the match winner. Thought
oh,
he was
definitely.
really, really good. Made a huge key clutch shot, I think, to put the Pistons up by one once again. So it
Mhm.
went because Tim Hardaway Jr. put a three to put him ahead. Then I think Butler made a shot, and then Cade came down and made the next one while Jimmy was getting his
Yeah,
shoes on.
yeah.
So um, he did have a turnover and some questionable decisions at the end of the fourth, but I thought like when you zoom out and
I
you
thought
let the
he had
emotion settle,
more.
he was awesome.
I thought he had more turnovers. I think he only had 4 today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
only
He
had
only had
two up
4.
until like the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he had some really badly timed ones. But yeah, I mean, you could just see when he's not getting all of the attention from the defense on him, like is he's insane. Like I think somebody tweeted out something about it, like uh people were complaining about him not getting a whistle, but he can pass so well in the paint. Like it's crazy. Like you see the reasons why he is a point guard. Like everyone will be like, "Oh, just move him to the 3, don't give him the ball as much." And it's like, I mean, high usage player, he's going to have turnovers, but some of those passes he's making are just ridiculous. Like, and it's not just like a fluke. Like he's been doing it his entire career, even like high school, college, early years, even to now. Like, just his vision is crazy. His playmaking is nuts because of the amount that he draws. I mean, how many open shots does he get, Malik Beasley? Like so
It's
many.
crazy.
And like
Yeah.
again, it's really great to have somebody like Malik Beasley on the court with him. So
Yeah, no, he's like you said, once he's in the paint, the beautiful thing about him is he has the ability because he's like 6'6", whatever, to just do an overhead pass straight to the corner on
mhm.
time. And it's like he doesn't necessarily have the most fancy passes. Like you rarely see him do like a behind the back or anything like that, but just the timeliness and like accuracy of his passes in traffic is what makes him so special at that size as an offensive sort of talent, really.
Yeah. I mean, even the one like this, it's not like a huge moment or anything, but he had one. Asar got a steal. He was running the floor and like called for a lob, and he like went to go up with it. Tyler Hero jumped, got his hands up, and then he just like left hand just right around him, right to him for a dunk. Like it's just stuff like that. Like maybe if he gets it up in the air, Tyler Hero steals it, and it's just like, oh, easy, just left hand. Like so, like that's the kind of stuff you see where it's like, okay, I mean, he is a point guard. Like,
Yeah.
yes, he's gonna have those turnovers, but so does every other lead point guard in the league. Like high usage as much, like volume as much as he has the ball. It's what happens. Like I will come on here and complain about it when he has bad ones, but I mean that's part of the game. Like it's take it or leave it kind of thing. Like he is what he is, and he's a great player. Like that's just
he really is.
all-star season.
Like
He's an all-star. He is.
another like so, I think if you're not a Pistons fan watching that, just the casual or even just your average NBA Twitter fan, like they watch that game and you see that Cade's an all-star. Like
Yeah.
we just get really focused on those last 4 minutes because we watch it every night, every possession,
Mm-hmm.
like yourself and I, people in the chat here. But if you just see that stat line, Pistons win, beat Miami in overtime, Cade makes a game winner, like just another one to add to the all-star season resume, I think, along with that Knicks game.
Didn't Eric Spoelstra say something about Cade today and like his turnovers? Like,
yeah, I missed that. I saw it, but I didn't actually watch it. But it was something complimentary about it.
I think he just said something about the turnovers, like not really being that big of a deal or something. And like, again, like you said, we're hyper focused on it because we're watching every game. But you got one of the better coaches in the league. Like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. He's still one of the best players in the league. So, that's always. His turnover rate was very deceiving. Yeah. So, I mean, things like that, like other coaches saying stuff like that, like other players who come in and they're like, yeah, I mean, he's got a great game. Like, it's good to hear other people within the NBA, like recognizing how good he is. And it's not just like, oh, you're a Pistons fan and you think he's good, but he's terrible. It's like, no, he's actually really good. There's a reason he was the number one pick. Like, so I don't know. This season, as much as it's been up and down, like it's very exciting to kind of be a part of a team like this that finally seems to have some sort of direction and they aren't just like going nowhere. The vets contributed tonight. Cade obviously was great. I won't lie though, right at the beginning of the game when Jaden Ivey was a late scratch and I didn't see him sitting on the bench for like the first quarter, I was like, I think somebody tweeted out like, oh man, he got traded. And I was like, I don't think that, but like, then it was like, oh, he's not with the team. Oh boy. Like, why was he such a late scratch? And no, I was really hoping this weekend we would have something. I won't get into who I would like to be traded or anything, but like after the Paul Reed stuff, I mean, obviously they added, I think, was it $4 million?
Yeah, $4 million in cap space.
Yeah, now it's just another thing to look forward to. So
I feel like I don't even know. I'm actually going to record an episode with Carl Metz, the Pistons cap guru, in a couple of days, just going through trade options and that kind of thing. So he'll break it all down. But that last 2 days, I'm just like, I guess it was good. What's his name? Keith Smith said, fantastic piece of business. So if he's saying it's a great piece of business, I'm good with it. But that was like peak Pistons Twitter, I swear. The last 2 days, like the speculation and then nothing happening really.
Yeah, nothing. It was just, they brought him back. I always think it's funny when I see people like putting trade like rumors or like who they would like to trade, and Kyle's was like, that wouldn't work. Sorry, like nope. It was like, literally.
No, Kyle's the man with that stuff. That's why I'm getting him on here to help me because I am trades like. There's some players I like, but in terms of how they actually make these deals work, like I got no idea, man. It's so confusing with this new apron stuff. Like it makes sense, but it's too much for me.
It's watching just like some other games around the league. Like I think I just had the Bulls game on. I don't know if they beat Toronto or not. You're just like looking, you're like, man, I would really like the Pistons to go get like Lonzo Ball or Kobe White. If the Bulls are trying to blow it up, like why not? But I think he had the trade earlier that was for like Levine. There was a couple other players in it, and it was like, do you think that the Bulls just want to get off Levine's contract so bad that they just are taking whatever you'll give them? Like, take it. And like at this point, I will take it. I mean, what he showed against us, I think that last time they played him when they lost to them, like he still got it. And like he was injured most of the year last year. Like, I don't know. I think he fits the team really well as just like a pure scorer. And so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind him totally.
No,
But
I'm open to it. I'm open to an Ingram trade. I'm honestly open to all trades. I get too confused talking about how the Pistons can make it happen. But
yeah,
like Levine, like the way I look at him, this might be. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to his game, but he's like an absolute supercharged version of like what Tim Hardaway Jr. is bringing, like
yeah,
to the max. Like you'd have to play him probably at the 3, but his shooting and shot creation, like he's obviously limited defensively, like THJ, but like he would be guaranteed they're not going 8 minutes without scoring a bucket.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
So,
but yeah,
I wanted to quickly ask you though, just before we get down the whole more trade stuff, just I don't think we've really spoken about Malik Beasley tonight, and I know he went a little bit cold towards the end, but like up until that cold stretch, like he finished with 28 points. I think it was his 10th 20-point game of the season, and we're not even 30 games in.
yeah,
7 threes, 50% from the floor. Like not only is he putting up over 20 points, but more often than not, it's like over 50% from the field. Like
yeah.
just think we need to shout him out.
Oh, absolutely. And like I think I touched on this before. Like when he makes some of those threes are like big threes because they're run stoppers for the other team. Like I think there was like a point today where it was like, oh man, they're kind of coming back. They got it down to 12 or 11, and it's like, Malik Beasley just nailed it. And I think what was the stat today? They're 6-2 when he scores 20 or more or something. Like it.
I think they would now be 7-3 because I saw that stat.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but like when he starts shooting, like you're seeing him and they're just pure net, no rim at all. Like, yeah, he's got it tonight. Like it's going to be a good night because he is the one that really helps him. Because when he catches fire, it's boom, boom, boom. Like he's hitting 2 or 3 in a row, helping you grow that lead. Like, so yeah, I mean, his contract is probably one of the best contracts in the entire NBA. Like for what they're paying him and what they're getting back is crazy. And not even just on the floor, but off the floor too. Just the mentality he brings with this young team, like it's very good. So yeah, I mean, if Cade didn't play the way he did, I mean, obviously I think Beasley might even be putting up, player of the game tonight instead of Cade. But I mean, that's a tough sell. I think that's more personal preference, but yeah, when he goes, the Pistons go. So,
and it's that the thing, like the reason like the Pistons built such a big lead is because Miami traditionally always like Cade normally struggles against them offensively and always typically leans more into passing because their whole thing is like get the ball out of Cade's hands. We're going to trap him. But they kind of couldn't tonight for the first 3.5 quarters because Cade just kept finding Beasley in the corner or Beasley coming off some action on the other side. And he was making them pay. So the Miami couldn't keep sending 2 to Cade, and that was opening things up for him. But obviously he saw down the stretch. They just went all in on Cade, and then Beasley couldn't hit the shots. But he's been like you said it perfectly, like best value contract in the NBA. Like I can't think of a better one.
I just absolutely love that when Cade gets downhill and gets double teamed and he's kicking it out to Malik Beasley and not. Do I want to give? I don't want to give Pistons fans any bad flashbacks, but name them. I mean, I saw Alec Burks on the bench for the Heat today. Like, talk about creepy shooters. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, my example was probably going to be Isaiah Livers, who I really liked when they drafted him, and then he got hurt and just man, it was like I was expecting him to be. I don't want to talk about that. They got Malik Beasley, and that's so. It's just
because it needs to be talked about though, because we got PTSD from those types of players. Like respect all of them, but like honestly, like you said, the amount of times,
Saban Lee,
Killian Hayes, like, but yeah.
Anyways, he's kicking it out to Malik Beasley, or I mean, even Tim Hardaway Jr. Like he's been on a cold stretch, but obviously today he found something. It's just really good to see Cade to be actually to play to his strengths of that. Like you're seeing it. I mean, obviously, what like 3 of his last 4 games he's set assist personal records. I
Yep.
mean, it was 14, there was 15, there was 18. Like obviously, like this is the kind of team you have to put around him. And honestly, whatever happens with the center position, like if you can get a somewhat athletic defensive 3-and-D type of center, I his numbers go up even more than that because like for some reason that connection with him and JD just hasn't been there as much this year. Like they used to run those pick and rolls so well, and it could just be that the offense that they're running is completely different. But even when they get into it nowadays, like it just seems like the timing is off a little bit. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought I mean, I probably should touch on it. Isaiah Stewart, that looked a bit scary for a moment, like
yeah,
with his knee, but I think it was ruled just a hyperextension. So he's probably going to miss a couple of games, but that's good news considering what that looked like. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. If they can find a center that can stretch the floor and score, like I mean, Asar at the 4 tonight looked. I know that's kind of Tobias Harris's role, but Asar at the 3 or 4, like, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess I'll ask you this: should Asar, I think, play 27 minutes tonight, which I would just guess is a season high.
yeah.
And had a season high in points and all that kind of thing. Do you think he should be, a starter? I mean, it's gonna be tough because once Tobias is back, it would be THJ.
Yeah.
Probably he's taking his spot.
I would like to see him as a starter. But I think maybe right now, maybe he is best coming off the bench just to help that second unit a little bit more, um, of just kind of with defense and with shot creation and stuff. Like I would love to say yes, but again, you don't want to like alienate your vets in that way because like I think there is something to that. And you would hope that they would handle it well. Like if THA was like, hey man, like you know, you got to, this is what we're doing now. Like you would hope that he would handle it well. And I think he probably would. You know what? Yes. Yes. I would like to see Asar in the starting lineup because I said help defensively with the second unit, but I think that the starters need more help defensively than the second unit does. I mean, especially if Stewart's in the second unit. Yeah. Yes. I would like to see him as starter. There we go.
I think no, it's tricky though because I fully agree with you on that thing about the veterans and really making these young players earn a starting role if they're going to get it. So I'm with you. I think right now, I don't think you would just obviously throw a star in for THJ. Even though I do think at some point this season, that's what I want to see happen because it will mean a few things. It'll mean that Asar's playing really well and playing, he's back to himself in terms of minutes per game and just because when he's on the court, like he even tonight missed like 3 layups that I was like, man, once he gets
Yeah.
that finishing back, like he needs to improve just as a finisher in general, but he's obviously still just getting back to his best. Like he's so good. Like just can get to the rim so easily.
Yeah, and I mean, what's even like what I think is good for this team right now, like, is getting him that like extra run, like especially with Tobias being out and you give him those starter minutes, like, and now what do they play in 3 days, like, give him a couple more days to like kind of rest up or get his conditioning back to where it needs to be. I think they start a West Coast trip, so
Yeah,
I think they're going to be out here in Phoenix.
Oh, are you going?
I think so. I think me and
So,
my girl are
so
going to
that's
go.
Saturday night. That's the
Yeah,
first game. They play against Utah at LCA on Thursday, and then they travel to Phoenix or
yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to that one. Hopefully, that's the plan right now. But
Let's
yeah, I
go.
mean, you kind of get them that kind of rest and just keep him with it. I mean, yeah, I think Kyle. Yeah, you can't like him and Duran on the floor together will be interesting because obviously Asar's shot is still not great. But I think at some point there has to be a little bit of take it and leave it because up until today, I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. wasn't really shooting the ball very well. I mean, he's more of a threat than Tobias is, or than Asar is, obviously. But again, do you take the possible offense of that, or you know that the defense will be there every night? So I don't know. I'm glad that I don't have to make that decision. That's for sure.
No, I'm with you. Um, DG, we did give Duran some credit for his defense there on Hero because, I feel like he could have fouled Hero on that three. Like that was a tough cover, even if Hero was taking a tough shot. And we did shout him out earlier, but maybe just a little bit on Duran because, as Alan says here, my man Pistons make me weep. Duran kept Bam quiet. Uh, I don't think this is a game where we're going to sit here and talk about JD for 10 minutes but I thought he was solid. I mean, the turnovers just really hurt. I think he had 5. A couple of them were when he was trying to bring it down the court, but
Yeah, I already have a
so I guess
turnover. Oof. Like that's the one that really stuck out to me. Those ones when he's just trying to bring the ball up the court for no reason. Those ones are they're always going to stick out to me as like the ones that you just don't need to have. Like you can give the ball to somebody else, man. I know that you think that that's like something that you can do, and it's just proven that 75% of the time he turns the ball over. Like I like what he tries to do when he gets the ball and he's trying to like in the like mid post and he's trying to make plays that way. I don't absolutely hate those, but yeah, when he's trying to bring the ball up the court, it's I don't know. Just give it to someone else,
I
anybody
know.
else.
Yeah. It like I probably yeah, I'm trying to be really positive about his game because he did have 9 points, 16 boards. Like I don't think Bam outplayed him or anything, but when you have 5 turnovers, it's really, really
Yeah,
hard to
in your
say.
starting position like
Like
that.
exactly right. It's just when you're not a high usage guy and you somehow
Yeah,
have 5 turnovers, like it's hard to say you didn't contribute to, I guess, some of the the
yeah,
losing aspects of the game. But look,
yeah,
that last possession I think was good, so I will give him praise for that.
yeah. Yeah, with him again, I think we've talked about like, when he can get his touches, like he plays a lot better like when he's kind of in the flow of the offense. I don't know, today it didn't really seem like they were kind of going to him. I mean, obviously Bam's guarding him, who's one of the better defenders in the league, but he still seemed to have higher energy than I think a lot of games this season. So again, this is just coming to him now. He just has to string these possessions together, like or not possessions, just games. Like play
Yeah,
solid. You don't have to go out there and you know put up 30 points every night. Like just go out there and be this. Like go get 15 rebounds, get 10 points a game. Like help defend the rim. That's really what they need him to be, and I just kind of hope he can file into that role a little bit because I feel like before he was really trying to do too much, and so cut down the turnovers, just be this, and you got yourself a serviceable big man at least. Like,
I agree. Definitely. No, I mean 5 turnovers is way too many, but I thought, as silly as it might sound, the rest of his game was fine, even though he did have one glaring bad aspect. But
yeah,
moving on now, before I've probably got another 5 minutes here, Austin. I appreciate you
yeah,
sticking around with me.
yeah, no problem.
Um, the Pistons are now 11-16. They're 10th in the East. I'm just pulling up the standings to make sure. Yeah, 10th in the East, half a game ahead of the Nets. So they're right in that play-in race. The next 3 games, so we kind of touched on it, but they play the Jazz at LCA on Thursday. Then they travel to where you are situated in Arizona and play the Suns on Saturday. And then they play the Lakers early next week in LA. What are you expecting in, I guess, the next week? And what would you like to see?
Oh man, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say 2-1. I think they beat.
Love it.
I think they beat LA. Honestly, I think the way that LA has been playing like this season, they're just having a tough time finding any type of rhythm. I think they beat Utah. Hopefully, I mean, it'll depend on if Lowry Markkinen wants to go crazy or not. If he even, I guess, I honestly, I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't seen anything on Utah. Like, what is their record? Do they?
The Pistons should win that game. Like I'll get it up for you now, but Utah 5-19, 2-8 in their last 10. Like
Yeah,
second last in the West.
that's a game you have to win, especially at home, like before a long road trip. Like, you got to win that one. I think coming out here to Phoenix will be tough. Obviously, with the three-headed monster that is Beal, Durant, and Booker is guess, man, I'm gonna say, is Bradley Beal hurt again? I haven't heard his name in just about anything.
Yeah. I know KD was injured, but he's back now, I think.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think maybe Bill is injured.
yeah. I was
I
gonna
know
say,
he was
like,
in
I
a
haven't seen
yeah,
anything on it,
he
but
probably is.
yeah, I don't know. I think they'll go 2-1 in those next couple games, and um, I don't know. I think that 10th spot is probably right about where I expected them to be all season. Um, fighting for a spot in the play-in. Hopefully they can make it, but I don't see Brooklyn staying there. I think they're going to start really selling off a lot of their assets here, and they'll start falling fast. So with just how I think top heavy the East is, I think they have a shot at getting into that play-in range, whether it 8 to 10. Like, just got to keep playing like they did for the first 3 quarters tonight.
Yeah.
Where everybody's contributing. Cade doesn't have to be Superman and get you 40. Like, I think there's really only one game I can recall where he's really done that, and it was Atlanta last year in the midst of their losing streak, like where he was like, I think he went for 41 or 42. Like,
Yeah.
other than that, like, Cade just has to continue to just give you 20 to 25, 10 assists. I feel like now is on the low end. Like, he's gonna,
it really is.
but just let him do that. I don't know. Like, they make some moves at the deadline. I think things could really turn around for them to just make some noise. So excited to see where they go. I think at this point in the season, they're right where they should be. If they've had some losses that should have been wins, some wins that they probably should have lost, like tonight, they probably should have lost that game, and they probably should have lost the last time they played the Heat. But
yeah,
you know what? It is what it is, and yeah, I just like where they're at. So
no, I think I'm with you on the prediction. I think you absolutely have to beat the Jazz, and preferably that's a game you win by 10 points plus, and you're in control because you are such a better team than them. Like,
yeah,
I just and especially after a win like tonight, like, I think it's really important they just come out and at least in the second half, like, show that they're the better team than Utah. Because if they, like, I don't even want to think about them losing that. So I think they win that game. Then it's like get one. I mean, I'd love them to win for you in Phoenix. That would be awesome.
that'd be great.
If
But
I think that's the one I'm going to hope they win. But I also as well, like, I can't remember the last time they won in LA. I would love them to beat the Lakers.
yeah, that's true.
I think that that both those Phoenix and Lakers game though, they're winnable. Like, they're
Yeah,
winnable.
I'd say the Phoenix game for sure. Like, obviously with Booker and Durant, but with Asar being back, like, if you can shut down at least one of them, like, you kind of got a shot. I feel like, because I mean, they don't really have. I mean, I think Nurkic is their starting center, but like, other than that, like, I can't really think of anybody on their team that's like a solid role player. Like,
Yeah,
you
got like
but
Grayson Allen, but yeah, nothing crazy.
Grayson Allen. No, he's good. I just don't like.
No, he's just a good shooter. He's not nothing. He's not like an Austin Reeves or anyone. He's just a really good shooter. But yeah, I think, like, honestly, like, you could tell me they're 3-0. You could tell me they go 1-2. But I think I'm with you. I think 2-1 is a very fair and reasonable expectation.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at, and yeah, it's yeah, like I said, they're right where I thought they would be, and some of the games have been tough to watch, but all in all, a lot better than last year. You're seeing the progression of everybody, which is good. So, yeah, I don't really have a lot to be like mad about. You'll be mad in the moment in games like this or games like Boston when they lose badly, but when you actually kind of are like away from it, and it's like, okay, Boston obviously one of the best, if not the best team in the NBA. You're gonna from where you're at to where they are, you're gonna get beat. Like, it's just part of it. So taking that step back and just being like, all right, I can be realistic with this team and be happy where they're at and have expectations going forward that they will be better. So as long as they don't fall off the cliff, then things will be good.
I love what you said earlier as well, because this is something, like, I think that us as Pistons fans, we're so conditioned to especially after like the new year, this team just packs it in, they tank. And
Mhm.
it's like, if things aren't going really well at the start in the moment in the first half of the season, it's like, oh, well, the second half's going to suck because they're going to be looking at the draft. But there is like a real possibility that this team gets even better after the new year or after the trade deadline. I'm not saying like top 6 playoffs, but like they can like really put together a solid stretch of basketball to close out this season and like really elevate themselves for the start of next season to be a playoff team. Like I think that's a real thing that can happen. Whereas so much of us are just so used to like, all right, start looking at the draft. Like if they
Yeah.
get, like it's like, okay, it's kind of fun now, but if they lose 3 in a row, it's like, nah, they're done. They're done. And like I don't blame anyone for feeling like that because I feel like that sometimes. But I love that you said that before because I truly think they can be a really fun and better version of themselves later in the season.
Yeah, and I mean they're with a star coming back. Like I really think that's huge. Bobby Clinton played in the G League tonight. I don't know if they plan to keep him down there or not. I mean that'll be interesting to see too. But as they get healthier and well, hopefully stay healthy. Like I don't remember the last time I was like into the Pistons after like March 1st. Like I don't
Yeah.
I you'd watch some games here and there, but it's like they're playing the Grizzlies tonight. Random March day, Cade's out, Jaden Ivey's out. I'm not watching that game. Like,
Yeah.
so it will be fun to be able to really follow them into those moments of like, okay, they're in a stretch now where let's just say they get into those games and it's like, okay, they have to win 4 of their next 6 to make the playoffs. Like, that'll be a fun time. And even if they don't get there again in the moment, I'll probably be pretty upset about it. But when you take a step back and look from where this team was last year to where they could be this year, like it's just it's exciting, I guess. Yeah.
It
Try to
very
be more
exciting. And
positive about it.
no, you've been positive as it's good. I want to as well. You brought up Bobby Clinton. I probably should just do a quick minute on him. So, uh, he played for the Crews tonight. I've got it here. He played 19 minutes, 8 points. It looks like he fouled out, but 3 of 8 from the field, couple of assists, couple of rebounds. So he is back and playing basketball, which is huge. And I know a lot of fans will be excited about that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if he was fit and firing, I feel like he probably gets minutes tonight because he kind of feels that Tobias Harris, sorry, he's not Tobias Harris level, but he's a 4 that can shoot and pass a little bit.
Mhm.
So he might have got some minutes tonight. So
Yeah.
hopefully we see him soon.
Hopefully get some good run down there and get some condition and maybe if Tobias Harris if whatever his injury is keeps him out a little bit longer, maybe they bring him on the road trip with him. Who knows?
True. I guess we'll see. We might see him in Arizona. Um,
Yeah.
I think we've covered it really well tonight. Up and down game, probably the most like crazy game we've had in a while in terms of just the ups and downs, like similar to the other Miami game, but this one was even crazier because it
Yeah.
really felt like they'd lost that game. But any other thoughts before I let you get out of here?
No, it's just funny. I was just thinking when you said that, like, the wind meter, like, was probably how just how I was feeling. It was like, oh yeah, it's way up here, and the wind meter just dipped, and it was like, oh, just sitting on the couch, like, this is really happening again. But yeah, no, yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything, everything that I wanted to talk about. So,
Love it.
we got the win. You know
We
what? A
got the
win's a win.
dub. Let's go. And if you are at the game, especially if the Pistons win, I'd love to somehow get you on the stream for like a couple of minutes while you're at the game, or like after the game or something. That'd be really cool while you're in the stands if we can make that work. But obviously, I don't expect you to come on here because you're at an NBA game. So enjoy it. But if they do get a win, if you've got a couple of minutes, I'd love to get you up here. And obviously, any other stream, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much once again for jumping
Yeah,
on,
thank
and
you.
I really appreciate
You
it.
guys aren't following this dude, follow him. I'm sure probably most of you are, but if you're not, follow him and like it because he's
You're a
doing great
legend.
stuff.
Really appreciate you, Austin, man. Thank
Yeah,
you so
you too.
much, and hopefully we're chatting after that Utah game or definitely the Suns game.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, brother. You have a good night. We'll talk
You
soon.
too. See ya.
Bye. All right, Austin's the man. Uh, gonna go through some comments here, guys. Just the usuals in here. White guy next door. Pistons make me weep. See an ink. YouTube user. YouTube user. I assume is your name actually YouTube user or is it like a private account? I've always wondered that. Or are you just called YouTube user? But I appreciate you. You're always in here. Uh, what have we got in here? I see some Paul Reed talk. Kyle Metz. Shout out to Kyle. Uh, all right. Yeah, that you knew it was going in though. That was the thing. White guy next door. That three hero hit to tie the game was an insane shot. It was ridiculous, but you just like you knew it was going in. Like, like I was watching that. Austin kind of touched on it there, but that last 4 minutes of regulation, I sat. As you can see, I'm not in my normal place at the moment. I'm just in a bedroom right now, but I sat on the edge of my bed in like purely frozen, just watching this team fumble a 19-point lead. It was crazy. I did not think they were going to win. Uh, once again, Waika next door. Beasley had 20 plus in 4 out of his last 7 games with one 19-point game thrown in there. Yeah, we touched on him. He's been like $6 million. Like that's all he cost. I don't know where that ranks on the Pistons cap sheet, but I would say it's in the middle or lower amongst the 15 players and his production. Like I feel like he would be the second leading scorer now if you went by averages. Uh, he'd have to be close to Ivy, who's kind of dropped off recently. Um, Seaning says, I thought Asar might have been injured, but it looks like it was just a cramp. I know after that dunk, when he came down and had his left leg all stiff and it looked like he wasn't putting weight on it, I was having all kinds of bad thoughts. But as you said here, I think it was just a cramp because he came back and looked good. So I think you can say that's a conditioning thing or a hydration thing. So, yeah, we've seen Asar deal with cramps before, even in his rookie season. So, obviously nothing serious, thank goodness. But yeah, had some negative thoughts when I saw that. White guy next door. Good thing we brought people Paul back. Definitely. Very happy that Stu's injury isn't serious because I must admit that did look like a hyperextension straight away. But whenever someone goes down with a knee injury, it's always scary. So very happy that that is not anything more serious than a hyperextension for Stu because, uh, I'll say they missed him in that second half. Even if I don't think he would have changed much offensively, you still lose one of your best players at that stage of the game, already at Ivy, already without Tobias. Yeah. Part of the reason I'm still so proud of this team for winning is because they were missing 2 starters and I think Stu's just one of the Pistons' best players, period. Even if his game isn't the most exciting to watch, just his impact wise, like to be without him and 2 starters and to still get this win over Miami, I think is really, really encouraging, even if a bit frustrating. Seeing, can they give them some Red Bulls at halftime or something? Oh, the thing is, they were good in the third quarter. They came out with heaps of energy, and then the first half of the fourth, they were awesome. It was just that last 5 minutes. Yeah, the perimeter defense is a struggle, and I think I saw you mention it a bit later in the chat, YouTube user, but Tim Hardaway Jr., I absolutely love that he's taking all the charges he takes. I think he had 2 tonight. I think he's second in the NBA for taking them, and I think that's a real commitment and a positive thing from him to be doing that in the defensive end. But yeah, his limitations, like there were some moments where he's guarding Tyler Hero for extended stretches, and he just doesn't have the speed or anything to stay with a guy like Tyler Hero at this stage of his career. And we touched on it with Austin about starting Asar for that very reason. So yeah, the perimeter defense is definitely an area of improvement for this team. What else do we have here? Yeah, Scenic. Broadcaster was saying he's top 2 in the league for charges. Yeah, I think he's second. He's definitely second. He might even be tied for first after that second one. Oh, yep. You later followed up, Scenic, all over it. What else we got here, guys? Pistons make me weak. Last 4 minutes, I had 4 nicotine gums going at once. Oh, man. It was really like that. Appreciate you, bro. All love as well from my end. Yeah, if you could, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment on the video after. I'd really appreciate it. I don't expect it from any of you, but as you know, likes, engagement, all that kind of thing helps push the channel a bit more and helps us grow so I can keep doing this full time and keep chatting with you guys as regular as we are because I absolutely love it. Derek Brown with an interesting question. Thank you, Derek. Does Jaden Ivey lead to winning? An undersized shooting guard who's not a great defender or shooter. I like Ivey, just don't know if he's the future. It's a great question and one we don't really know yet. And it's the question around Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren are like probably the two biggest questions that need answering this season about how much you pay them and their role going forward. So we don't, not to give you a boring answer here, but we don't know if it does. We've seen games this season where him and Cade have looked awesome together and looked like a backcourt you definitely want to keep around for the next few seasons and extend Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey's preseason and first 15 games were excellent. I think he's still shooting the ball well from 3, but other areas of his game have dropped off in the past 2 weeks. And I think he's desperate for a really good 5-game stretch whenever he can get back. And he needs it because I think some of the shine of that early season play is starting to wear off. Whilst I would still probably extend him if it was today, he really needs to kind of get it going a bit more because he needs to be much more consistent for Cade and the team, obviously. So I don't really have an answer, but if he can't get back to here's how I answer it. The first 15 games Jaden Ivey saw, I think does lead to winning. I'll leave it on that. That's very fair, Alan. I think a lot of the fan base is with you on that. So I very much believe in Jaden, but yeah, he just needs a really good stretch coming up here because it's this down stretch of like 7 or 8 games has kind of gone on for a bit longer than you would like, even for an inconsistent player. C and Inc. YouTube user is the only Pistons fan from North Korea where you can't have a YouTube account. Got you. I didn't know that. Oh, there you go. Appreciate you tuning in, YouTube user, and thank you for that, C and Inc. Okay, guys. I think we might be done here. We're pretty much at an hour. Sorry, I'm just laughing at some of you in the chat here. But thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I would, YouTube user. Okay, before we get out of here, he made that up. Well, you don't have to tell me where you live or anything, but can you just confirm that this isn't a private account or something? Anyway, well, we're going to wrap it up, but I appreciate you all joining. If you ever want to come up here, as I always say, please shoot me a DM. Plenty of you are always in here in the chat, and I'm very happy and grateful for that. But we'd love to get you up here for at least one game this season because these are so much fun having guys up here like Austin and Alan, who's in the chat, Cody. Love it all. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I know I'm going to go back and watch that overtime because I still don't know really what happened. That was crazy. But until the Utah game, as always, go Pistons.